Hey, it's Mark from dynamitestocks.com and stockpursuit.com. I'm back with another video, and today I just want to touch on some of the active stocks in the market today, and I'll look at the technical analysis on the overall market and some select sectors and industries that I think are important now. Today we had a pretty good sell-off, and everybody's noticing Apple had a really they had not a bad earnings report, but I consider Apple kind of like a luxury goods company in a way. Like people that are buying brand new iPhones all the time, they're not cheap, and there's been some weakness in some luxury brands. It's kind of sporadic, but some of the lead luxury brands have been struggling. So in hindsight, that was it was almost predictable, I think. But I mean, everybody was I was pretty shocked. I was pretty shocked though by the amount of the sell-off. But I think it just kind of indicates more of what I've been saying, that the market's reached a point where it's done. The momentum is done for now. Like I think the best case is we go sideways for the rest of the year, pretty much. There'll be ups and downs, but I think the best case scenario has been baked in for a long time, and everything's been priced to perfection in a sense. So the market's forward looking, so any bad news is not going to be good or any bad guidance, or outlook. So I think worst case is the market just nosedives here, but I think it's just going to be sideways for a while, and I don't know if it's going to crash or if it's going to totally rebound, and it could even go up. I mean, we don't know, but I think looking at the probabilities, like I just put a tweet out on some market data that goes back historically. If you look at the historic return on the market, and I've been talking about this in the past couple of videos. If you look at the Standard & Poor's 500, which is the 500 largest companies in the United States that trade on the stock exchange, the years with the best performance through the first half of the year, you look at this and you can see, I guess we finished it out about 11th, like this, because this I think this data came out. Charlie put this data out the day before, but you can see it's kind of been a historic year. So, and if you look at the returns in the first half versus the second half, in the top 10, 3 of those times were down or significantly down. Like in 87, there was the crash, but I mean that's kind of an outlier. But you see the average return after the first half wasn't really good, except for 1954. And like I was saying, in 1954, that's just like an outlier as far as the growth went. But the market, the economic conditions aren't the same then. But I mean, you can see there wasn't the same kind of performance in the second half as there was the first half. So to expect the market to go up, straight like a rocket like it did the first half is not going to happen. I mean, it could happen, but let's just say that the odds historically are very low. So the good thing about the history of the market is you can look at the history and you can draw conclusions, and based on the data you can say, well, what's the probability of this? So I would say best case, maybe we do go up 10, 20%. It could happen, but it's much more likely that there's more subtle returns, like less than 10%. I mean, you look at these returns, the mean and the average is going to be, less than 10% for sure. I mean, it's probably closer to 4. I mean, it's pretty low. So I'm not saying that stocks are bad to own, but some stocks will do well, of course, because this is just the index. It's the overall market. So obviously, some stocks in the S&P 500 did better than that. I mean, some might have gone up 50%, while some went down 20. And gave those returns there. So it's still if this year's been a stock picker's market, it's even more so now. And I just think there's better opportunity in small caps and mid caps, and more of a bottom up approach. Because I like to take a bottom up and top down approach, but I just don't think it's wise to expect significant upside from here. Like I was saying, it could happen though, but I'll just take the probability. I'll take history, and let that be the template to make the decision. So I was looking at the semiconductors. These semiconductors actually found some support. Like you looked at the NASDAQ today actually went below some support, but the semiconductors are still hanging in there, and it's not surprising. So maybe the semiconductors might be one of the better areas as far as large caps go for the year, but we'll see. But like I was saying, I think I see this going sideways for a while. Best case scenario. I mean, it could just start breaking down, but you look at Apple, it wasn't good. Like, this is what I think is going to happen here with QQQ is we're now in a channel. So we actually topped out on the 19th, and then found some more resistance here and back down to support. Well, basically it goes down, up, down, up, down. See, and then we cracked that big trend line. So, I mean, obviously it could just start crashing here, but I don't think that's likely. But I think it's more likely we start crashing than just start making new highs in the next week or two. But I think this one's gonna, this is gonna be a correction for sure. And Apple, let's look at Apple real quick. Yep, Apple had that big gap down, and it's not good for the Qs. I think the long-term outlook on Apple is really good with XR and AR tech. I've been listening to a lot of these conversations and these Twitter spaces with these devs and tech leaders, and they're all saying that Apple's working on these XR AR glasses. Like, they're sort of like the headsets. Like, I'm not a VR person. I've never done VR, but my understanding is that these glasses they're working on, they're going to be like wearables, so you can wear them like everyday glasses. You can wear them like walking down the street, and they're like comfortable enough to wear all the time or a lot of times, and they're gonna. I think it's gonna if it's as good as they say it is, it's gonna revolutionize the commerce and a lot of things. Like I was hearing a story. They were talking about the founder of Siri, the company that Apple bought, and they actually bought the company Siri, the voice assistant. And well, the other guy, Robert, was talking about how he's seen prototypes of stuff where you can have these, like, you can be in like a VR environment or something. Well, they call it augmented reality. It's augmented reality. So you're in your normal space, and you can see the real world around you, but there's little pop-ups of like things like you can flip through pages, or your assistant can show you things, and it's all visual. But they're saying, like, when you're shopping for clothes, you can see the clothes on a model, like you can see an actual model walking in front of you, and you can buy the clothes from the glasses, like in the VR or the XR environment. So it's like really futuristic stuff. Like, I imagine it's going to take a while. I think it's a lot of years out, but that's what they're working on, and it's going to be like the iPhone, as big as that, or the iPods and iPhone. I mean, I remember Apple, a long time ago, they were kind of struggling back in the early 2000s, after the tech crash, and they hadn't had a new product, and it was the iPod and the iPhone really got them to where they are now. So I'm really bullish on Apple long term, but I mean, in the short term, I'm not so bullish with these technicals. Like a gap down where it opened up lower is an incredibly bearish chart, and you see that a lot. You see a lot of weakness on a lot of charts after that. It's just a very weak chart when it gaps down that much. The other one that one of my favorite stocks is NRDY, Nerdy. I bought calls in this one, I think it was beginning of the week or last week. So this bull flag break was really key, and it was actually up today. It was up really nice today, even though there was a lot of weakness in other tech. The NRDY is really good growth. The growth was good, and that's kind of what I want to be in now for swing trades, is stuff that's breaking out and it's got good growth. The array is another one of my favorites. I posted on Twitter this chart setup earlier today. It had really good strength today too, and it looks like it's about to break out again. And really good volume there. And this one has good growth too. One of the things I was thinking about was, if there is a big, market sell-off, and there's a lot of, say the VIX spikes, and there's like a really bad month, and everything's just crashing a little bit. Like, what you want to trade then, for short-term trades, is these leveraged ETFs and ETNs. I've noticed, over the past couple of years, if you trade the opposite of what the ETF is, so like this one's the bull one. So, it goes up when the market goes up, and down when the market goes down. But when the market's at these extremes, like an extreme crash, like say the Nasdaq's down like 3% in a day, or something like 3% in a day. In theory, this one would be up. If the market was up 3%, this one would, in theory, be up 9%, right? Because it's three times the returns of the underlying. So the underlying, it basically tracks the underlying. So if the market goes down and crashes, I expect to see stuff like this, these inverse, or these ETNs that are leveraged, they usually go a lot more. So this would be a good short if the market goes down, because they tend to go more than 3 times. So in that case, if the market goes down, this might be up 11%, if that makes sense, if you shorted it. So there's kind of like, it's almost like they overreact a little bit to the volatility. So if the market starts crashing 3% a day, I wouldn't be surprised if this is up, 10%, and then it makes a big difference versus just not trading, just trading non-leveraged. So this is one of the ones that I was looking at, because I wasn't really looking at these as short ideas until I wasn't thinking about it until recently, but I just had this one that I found a while ago. Google. I have this, I would like to see this turn to like an island top, where it just, if it breaks this level here, if it breaks that 126 area, in other words, if you get any downside from here, that's a really good failed signal, and it would be because the bulls would have gotten trapped up here if you bought at the top, then it's a huge market shift. So let's watch this trend line here. I think that's a rough trend line. Well, let's watch this resistance line. Because if it fails this line, if it fails that top line, it's game on for a failed signal, which is a really powerful reversal. Because like I was saying, it's a bull trap, because the bulls got trapped, which is like the failed signal. The other thing I was thinking about today was these oil and gas stocks. Like you see today, crude oil was up pretty good, even though the market was down and at least choppy. So I was looking at these. Well, I was looking at natural gas too. Like the natural gas, it's kind of gone sideways for a while, and it might even, I think it could bottom out. Everybody's been saying that forever, but if you look at the chart, it's just kind of gone sideways for a long time, and it's down so much. What are the odds it really goes down more? We'll see, but this isn't the best picture of it, because the ETF is going to have some decay from the contracts, because the ETFs and ETNs, they're buying and selling the contracts monthly. Usually they trade monthly contracts, so that's why there's a difference in the returns. So crude oil, like the USO trades the monthly contracts, so it's always a difference between the actual. It doesn't actually track the price of crude oil perfectly. It's a bad idea to buy USO for the long term, because you're going to get less returns. A better one is USL, because it buys the yearly contracts. It's all about the contracts and those things. But so the way my thesis here is there's a chance that natural gas bottoms. You see it's trying to, it basically is flattened out there, and then, but it hasn't formed a bottom yet, but there's a chance it bottoms. And if it does, these oil and gas companies, I think that's not priced into them right now. My theory here is trade some of these oil and gas companies that are exposed to oil and gas. So in theory, the price will go up from the oil, because oil is doing well, and then it's got a kicker of natural gas, like the surprise, so they'll go up they might go up regardless, if what natural gas does. But if they go up because of oil, then maybe the natural gas just kind of gives it an extra kick for the return. So I longed some really undersized AMPI calls. I bought some calls like out of the money, just really speculative stuff to on the possibility that it is going to bottom here. And this one, but the reason I like it is because it's pretty volatile, and it's actually kind of bottomed out a little bit. Like it's the low is there, and then it's just kind of been going sideways. And it looks like the way price is kind of congested up here at the top of this resistance. That's a good thing. When price congests around a pivot area, that's usually a sign that the market is comfortable in that area. So the price is pretty comfortable right here, so it can easily go. It's more likely to go higher, versus a spike. If it just goes up and it hits and goes straight down like it did in June, and it did it in May too. It just went up, hit it, went back down. But here it's kind of like hovering. It's kind of it's comfortable there. So, like I was saying, like totally speculative. Like I don't know for a fact that what oil and gas is going to do, but the risk reward is pretty good, I think, because all these oil and gas stocks are still beaten down. Like some of the other ones I was looking at, MRO, and it's the technicals on this one. It looks like it's trying to do the same thing. It looks like a flag there, and it actually kind of uptrended. So I'm pretty sure all these I'm looking at, they had the oil and gas too, because that's the key. I was looking for the natural gas as well. SWN, this one's actually been uptrending. Had a weird print today though. See, the place to buy it was here when it broke out of that trading range there. So it technically bottomed when it came out of this, because it had some resistance there. NEX, I was looking at this one too. This one's up a lot. It's got resistance up at around this area, but this one was oil and gas too, and it's got calls. It looked like it was doing a triangle there, but I mean the print today was pretty bad, but just on watch. WTI is another one. It's kind of been weaker, but I mean it kind of looks like it might be trying to do the same thing, trying to do that little bottom maybe. Some of these KLXC, this one's not super good, but it looks like it's consolidating though. I mean, that looks like a consolidation almost. And about the NGL, this one's pretty wild. I bought some calls on this one. I think it was oil and gas too, and this one's got a clear breakout going. It kind of pulled back today, and it looks pretty flaggy. So I still like this one. That's a good one. Looks like a flag. Like I was saying, USO is up pretty good today. Crude oil broke out again. About rig too, I took a loss on some calls on that one. It tends to run really good, but then when it consolidates, it just gets unpredictable. Like trades pretty crazy sometimes. Like you see here, it went up and down like a lot. But I mean, look at this long-term chart. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty. Looks like it broke sort of a triangle there. And it's always kind of been. It used to be a really good performer a long time ago, but I mean, back in look at that. Back in 2013, it was a $60 stock, $50 stock. But it still has potential. Let's look at some other watch lists that I've got. Yeah, these supernovas have been really stubborn. Like the thing about shorting is really hard. Like shorting, when it works, it's really good, and then you can get a really good gains, but you have to be super selective. And I could have been more selective, I think, with the TUP. Let's look at that one. Yeah, because it had news, so that kind of blew the whole thing out. But I mean, if it didn't have news, it might have been down today. But can't play hindsight. But the setup, it did do what it was supposed to do when it came down that day. But it's kind of unpredictable now. Like I don't know what's going to happen with this new news, and a lot of retail traders trading it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks out again. But I mean, if I was going to trade it, I would be more short biased, because it just hit the level that it filled at before, fours. The company that I was talking about in another video, Getty, it's another image company that I see them having some AI disruption. Like I don't think owning images is a good business now. With you can make them super cheap with AI now. So the RID did what I was talking about. I almost bought puts in this one today, but yeah, the way the premiums were, like in the Greeks, it didn't make sense. But because I was gonna buy them out of the money, but I think the play here is still short. Let's look at it versus see, it went way above the upper Bollinger Band. I used the upper Bollinger Band or the upper Bolly when a stock's spiking, 300-400%, which is a supernova. So when it goes up there and it does a shooting star, it's a good setup short. Or even when it's just way up above it, like see here back on the first day it ran, it just kind of came back. It's like a moving average. But I haven't been following the news flow in this one, but I'm just kind of hesitant to do any more supernova trades right now with the way they've been acting. They've been kind of unpredictable. Like the AAOI, I was talking about that one. It was a huge squeeze. Like I guess it was kind of the other day, yesterday, kind of give that away, but like I was looking at that, I was gonna short that one, but I didn't trade it, but turned out to be a good long, because it looks like it just squeezed. So this one, like I don't want to trade this one now either, because it's just unpredictable. But I mean, it looks more like a long if I had to pick one, but we'll see. Yellow. My hunch is it comes down, but if it breaks down again, it's the setup there. But I'm just gonna watch it. TSVT, another good day. Another red day. I mean, we kind of had a lot of those now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bounce. I've been talking about this one a lot in the videos. I first found it. I found it when it was like $9 or $8 a share. URGN. Yep, as I was thinking, it did. It's a bull flag. So we'll see if it follows through. But there's definitely more of a long right now. But it's not the best long out there. But it's a long setup for sure. Let's see if we got another watch list. Watches, yeah. Yeah, Save, SAVE. I found out today they got a buyout offer when they're planning on merging with JetBlue Airlines. And JetBlue is paying $33 a share. And the stock's at 16 right now. But the regulators try to stop it. But it looks like Spirit's gonna divest some of their businesses, and it looks like they're gonna work to get it to go through. So that's a good mispricing in the market right now. You know, you can, if it's got calls, then the calls would be good, or just the stock, like it's like a 50% upside, 50% gain or so if the merger goes through, which I think it's got a good shot at going through. The other one's IRBT. I've been talking about this one for a long time on my blog, Stock Pursuit. Like it went all the way down to like 30. Went down to $31 in May, and everybody thought that wasn't going to go through the merger because they got bought out by Amazon, and it's shareholder approved, and it's a cash deal, which is good. So it's a cash deal, shareholder approved. I mean, that's a good shot. You got to take that shot. So they just lowered the price to 50, 51, and see, it actually hit that. It went back up to that, and now it's down again. So there's another opportunity for that one, because I do think Amazon wants their technology. I mean, they want there's a reason they made the offer to begin with, and they want it. So my hunch is they want to use it like in the warehouses, because it's basically a robot, you know, could be used for stocking or whatever they needed to do. But just the tech is good too. I mean, the tech is really is worth something, especially with AI and like with the developments of AI and robotics. Now you're seeing more and more of those things. That reminds me of Boston Dynamics. Boston Dynamics is one of the best robotics companies in the world, and they were bought by Hyundai Motor for $1 billion. And I don't think a lot of people knew that, because Hyundai is a car company, but they bought the robotics company, and I think that wasn't even really priced into Hyundai stock. I'm trying to remember the ticker. I don't think I remember the ticker, Hyundai, but Hyundai is doing pretty good. I'm just going to look at that one real quick because it kind of refreshed my memory. Where's the ticker? Let's see. Be kind of curious to see what that did, because I think that's a good long-term buy. Hyundai ticker symbol. HYMTF. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's pulled back too. So maybe that one will come down too. That's a good long term if they've got that robotics company. Yeah, and Hyundai's a good car company. Run. I'm still watching this one. That those technicals just went to crap, kind of off of that after earnings. Because like the solar stocks, they should be going up now with oil going up, but they're not. So something going on. Like Run was my favorite of all the solar companies, just based on the technicals and the history. So we'll see what it does. Like I want to get some calls on this one if it gets any good technicals back. So I want to see it. I want to see it hold like 1850, and ideally, it just holds this line. What else was a surprise today? Oh, the MITK is a good one. This one, a lot of people are interested in this one now. It's they're basically like a data security company, and they've got really good growth. It's a good growth company, small company, and it's really trying to get some good technicals, get a good bottom. Yeah, this RGTI, I was thinking about that one. The quantum computing company. They say on their website and their business model, they have a quantum computer that's running on the cloud, and you can access the cloud and access the quantum computer. So I don't know much about that because it's kind of a new thing, but I think a lot of people there's a lot of hearsay that quantum computing is going to take 10, 20, 30 years to become reliable and workable, and I think that may be unwarranted because we don't know what they're doing right now. Like I don't know, like most of these people making these predictions, they're not really computer scientists or like working with these companies, so it may be a case where like if you look at the sort of mainstream attitude about things, it's not always right. Like there may be some breakthroughs that they're working on, we don't know. So if it's 10, 20 years, maybe that could be 5 years, who knows? Like a lot of people nobody thought that these ChatGPT was going to come out, this soon, like 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, if you asked, back in the mid 70s and the 70s, before everybody got personal computers in the 80s, if you had asked people, what do you think? How many years do you think it'll take personal computers to come out, and be, mass marketed? People in the 70s probably would have said, 30 years, but I mean, they didn't know. Like, only people that knew was Bill Gates and Jobs and all the guys working on it. So it's hard to make predictions when you don't have all the information. So it's definitely a new technology. So I think the odds of it developing into something meaningful are pretty good. How long it takes, I don't know. I mean, but I just know when it does come around, it'll be a growth market for sure. I mean, not that everybody's gonna have a quantum computer in their house, but maybe if you can tap into the cloud, get it. If the power of a quantum computer is used in any way possible, it's going to be superior to what we're currently using, by 100-fold. Or it's just the implications are big. When that happens, when we start seeing that, I don't know, but it could be sooner than later, especially if we see a lot of new technologies come from harnessing these LLMs to do the thinking for us and to do the data scraping and doing the hard work, like the time consuming work. Like everything's getting faster and faster. It's sort of the exponential part has been the speed of information. It's the flow of information. So like the internet really sped that up a lot. And I think the LLMs and AI are gonna make it even faster. Because it just speeds things up even faster. So what comes next, I don't know, but I just know the things I'm hearing from coming from Apple and a lot of these big tech companies are working on some neat stuff. So the one I'm still watching this one. It's just kind of slowly uptrending now. It's a health food brand. It's kind of hanging in there, and the Bollinger Bands are really tight too. But that's the same as being sideways. So it's gonna go eventually. The VIX has been kind of crazy. It seemed like it was gonna sell off today, but it just came back. It's kind of weird. Kind of reminds me of some years in the past where it spiked and then dipped down and spiked back up. It's not. So I wouldn't be surprised if it just keeps going up. But I don't think it's the best way to have protection for longs. I think protection for longs is just the best instrument's going to be just short whatever you're long, or short the index, like if you're long tech, short QQQ, or something like that. Let's see if there's any other stocks. I haven't run my scans tonight yet, but I imagine there'll be some interesting things with today. Probably a lot of stocks down. Let's just look at it real quick and see what's going on. This is stockfetcher.com. I love Stockfetcher. It's like I said, it's like FinViz on steroids. It's just really user friendly, and the website's real simple. Like FinViz is a lot of stuff going on that I don't really need. Like I usually look at. I just use Stockfetcher for the technicals, and I do use FinViz sometimes if I'm looking for fundamentals, but I like to look at the technicals first and then look at the fundamentals after that. Because usually I'll see these stocks in these charts first, and then I'll investigate the the fundamentals. So let's see the gainers. Wow, there's actually a lot of gainers today. Wow. It's kind of surprising. Look at those breakouts. AGS. Wow. KTOS. So many. And let's look at the Momo ones. There's a lot of those too. Let's see the gap downs. This is one of my favorite scans. These gap downs where they gap down a good bit and they have a really weak day. So I sort these by RSI. So I look for the low RSI. So the low RSIs are the ones that like. So a lot of these too. Wow, yeah. A lot of big sell-offs. What I found is a lot of times this screen here, they produces some really good results. Like these stocks usually will keep going down. Like that's the TSVT. The TSVT was one of those. See right here on the 27th. On the 27th, it hit that scan. It was in that scan on the 27th because you can see a gap down. It was really weak, and just kept going. I mean, of course, not all of them do that, but I just kind of have a good eye for which ones are doing it, especially if they're breaking down. Like, see, it was a major breakdown. It took out key support, and it's kind of perfect. This right here is like just like the perfect breakdown to me. Like there were a lot of those last year. So let's see if there's any other good ones. Yeah, LASR looks like it's not near 52-week lows though. That one's bad. I kind of like find things that are already weak, like this FNKO. That's probably some Chinese scam company. That looks like a good one. Oh, the Delta Apparel, that's a good one too. That company has been struggling for a long time. It's just always struggling. So they may have some balance sheet trouble. The DLA. Let's just add that to my watch list real quick. DLA and FNCA. I'll just check out those real quick and then I'll call it a night. Is it FNKO? FNKO. FNKO. Well, I'll just add them on later. Yeah, wow, that's a good one. Look at that. It's funny, just as I was talking about that TSVT, how it was a breakdown, because it was that support I was talking about, TSVT. It's the exact same setup. Wow. Yep, see the support there, boom, crash. Look at that. Look at the way the technicals lined up. So the thing is, the technicals tell the story really. Like, see how it bounced off of that? It bounced off where it bounced before there in March, and then I always like to check the news and see what happened when a stock starts to go up or down. You know, and the volatility comes. Like there might have been a news event. There may have been a news event here in June at the top. So if there's a news event, like, you know, they're gonna get delisted or something, or you know, they're going bankrupt, you know, you got to pay attention to that, and it can tell you what's gonna happen. This one's perfect though. I really hope it has puts, because that would be ideal. But that's like one of my favorite short setups now. And what was the other one? Well, GoDaddy's down. Oh, that's something, huh? Oh yeah, DLA. Yeah, this is a retail company, clothing company. They've been struggling for years, long time. Well, of course they went up in 2001, but not the case now. What happened? Oh, yep, they had earnings yesterday. Must have been some really bad news in the earnings. So that's like a catalyst. And this is a good short too. Like I would even, I don't short stocks intraday anymore, but like with shares, I do puts. But if you guys watching this short, because I know there's a couple of you traders out there, If this thing breaks down, I think it's a good short. If the shorts get control, like you see here, the shorts took control really back in June, and then the 19th, the shorts just took it down every single day. That's beautiful. It tried to bounce on earnings, and then I guess people covered. They covered a little bit, and then back to the breakdown. That's a good one. DLA, yo yeah. And like retail hasn't been, a lot of retail companies have been struggling, but down 14% today. It was DLA down 14%. Wow. And the FNKO is down 13.9%. Yeah, I just love this scan. Yeah, it shows, it stocks the 3% loss, and RSI is less than 75. Because if you're shorting, you don't want to have good RSI, and it's kind of the way I think about it. But I guess this video is kind of turned into like a live stream almost, or another Mark's watch list video. But I guess it's good to share my thoughts on the process, because I feel like I've gotten a good process over the years. It's all about the process, and weeding out the noise and the stocks that aren't good setups. So let's look at I'll just do a market technicals here too. Oh yeah. See, the S&P is actually even more, the selling's been even more violent. Top was there. The stock cats, if you follow stock cats on Twitter, his handle's is realstockcats.com, or realstockcats. He's a really good ES trader, and he's called all the tops in the past like 10 years, 5 years. He's really good at finding tops, and he's been pretty bearish. But yeah, the momentum is gone here. Just gonna try a trend line. Yeah, let's see, that's a good inside trend line. Let's get it right here. Yeah. Well, it's kind of been it's kind of funky, but it's probably better here, actually, like right there. But looks like it could be more of a flag than the QQQ, but some pretty bearish stuff. Like, it looks like the next level to test is right there. So watch it when it comes up to this area. That's the next level to test right there. A little lower. So about 444. Yep, 443. Let's say it's 4436 to 444 is the next level. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to cover. I just wanted to cover the some of the major indices and some of the stocks I was watching and thinking about today. So, oh yeah, and I want to do a shout out to Volley, VALY. He's a good fan. he likes a lot of my tweets, and shout out Volley. I'm not sorry if I said your name wrong, but if you're watching, I don't know if you're watching this, but you're the man. So or lady. I can't tell. Like in the picture, it looks like a guy. But thanks, Wally. You're a good. Thanks for supporting me with the likes. So I'll call a night and talk to you later.